She may not be in contact with him anymore. However, she still sees him as the one that got away, and she keeps a place for him in her head and therefore her heart, and she will never see you as her best option. This is very common, guys. A lot of dudes get married to a woman that just settles for them. Women rarely get their first choice when it comes to a marriage. What usually ends up happening is the exact story that I told earlier with that ex-girlfriend of mine from years ago that in her 20s ran away from home when her mom died, went to Asia, partied, went through a bunch of dudes, came back, and at her epiphany phase, like on schedule, late 20s, she went back to the guy that she didn't really like in her early 20s that she went to university with and convinced him to get married, and they had a couple kids together, right? It's a sad state of affairs when you look back on it. If a woman, because she feels her biological clock ticking, will chase down a less than favorable option because it's all that she has. That's why we call it settling, right? And it's like they understand that, okay, option one is keep trying to find what I'm looking for, knowing that my value is slowly diminishing year after year. As I get older and, I'm less fertile and the chances of a high risk pregnancy sort of, get closer to the face, because women know these things. Like women inherently in their late 20s will start Googling shit. And it's like, what are the risks of me having a special needs kid at this certain age? And they'll come back at you with data and they'll be like, if we wait an extra 2 years to have a kid, Rich, then the chances of having a special needs kids go up by like 13.1%, right? So it's like there's this pull, there's this draw to make a decision. There's this calling for them where they have to find something, and it's like, well, he's good enough. He's tall enough, he's good looking enough. His job is not really what I want, but maybe he can, maybe there's some potential there and we can figure it out. And she'll just go and get married to that guy, right? So Alpha Widow. She may not be in contact with him anymore. However, if she still sees him as the one that got away, she keeps a place for him in her head and therefore her heart, and she'll never see you as her best option. It's imperative that she has genuine burning desire for you. I talk about GBD, genuine burning desire, in the book in detail, an entire chapter. You need to read the book to get through all those details. That's not what we're doing today. We're covering the red flags. You don't want to be good enough. You want to ensure that you're getting her very best. I couldn't imagine in this day and age, knowing what I know, settling for a chick that is just with me because I'm good enough, right? It's like, I want to be that giant that she wants to be with. And if you're not, then what's the point? Honestly, like, what's the point? Like, just let her go, next, just find the next one. That, like, I always say, just choose women that choose you. Because if you can do that, then you can avoid like the whole settling and the good enough and her keeping men around from her past. Because at the end of the day, dudes, if you are her best option and she looks up at you as a giant, if you say to her, when she comes at you and says, Rich, I dig your vibe. Where do we stand? Where's this going? I'm looking to have a family, blah, blah, blah. And you look at her and you go, okay, I dig your vibe too. There's a lot of great qualities that I admire about you, but I can't take a woman seriously that keeps guys around from her past. No problem. I'll get rid of them. I'm not going to talk to him anymore. No more coffees when he calls me. I'm just going to ignore them. That's what a good chick will do when she sees you as her best option. But if she sees you as like just good enough, or she's settling for you, you're going to run into problems. She's going to keep these guys around, right? So trust me when I say that no good ever comes from her having lunch with ex-boyfriends or other male friends, and you certainly do not want to be the guy that she settled for. If you're a man that is chasing excellence in his life, you do not need distractions like your woman seeking attention from or still pining for other men. Men and women have little in the way of common interests other than men wanting to have sex with women and women wanting to extract attention or resources from men. There should be no room for male friends, in quotations, in her life. If you're in a long-term relationship, women like this should be a plate, at least until they can prove that they're over their past. Nobody fucks more girlfriends and wives than he's just a friend. Remember that. There's this joke that I use. If she's like, oh, Bill is just a friend. Okay, give me your phone. Take her phone and then text the guy, hey, Bill, I'm horny. You want to hook up? She'll freak out because he's either going to say yes, right? Or she's not going to like the other options that start coming out of it because it's going to be beyond yes. But at the end of the day, if she's like friends with a guy, especially a guy that she was intimate with in the past and keeping him around as an orbiter, That's like bad news bears, man. That's like, it's like parking a nice car in a shitty neighborhood and expecting nothing bad to happen, right? Or just, buying a house in a shitty neighborhood and always leaving the doors and windows unlocked, hoping that nothing bad is ever going to happen. Like, you will be exposed to problems if she's keeping guys around from her past, especially guys that she was intimate with. And we all know that women keep a backup plan around. Like I said earlier in that red flag, it's been well studied. And again, so the thing is that when you ask women about backup plans, half of them admit to having a backup plan. The thing about having a backup plan that you have to understand is it's duplicitous. It is not considered a virtuous trait of a high quality woman. Like a woman of good character won't have a backup plan. So you have to remember, half of the women are admitting to having a backup plan, which tells me the other half of the women probably, maybe not half, let's say another third or so, or a quarter, but another good chunk of the women that don't admit to having a backup plan don't admit it because it makes them look bad, right? Women don't want to be like reputation management. One of the things you'll notice when you watch the Ladies Night podcast on Monday nights is reputation management is really, really important for women. If they get into areas that look like sticky situations where their reputation might be compromised, they might be considered promiscuous, they might be judged for decisions in their past, then they have to take corrective measures. Like you'll see them sort of like freak out, a little bit when you get into these areas because they don't really know how to do it because they don't want to look bad, right? It's really, really important for women. Reputation management is huge, very big.